Like facts, handguns are stubborn little devils. What's amazing about handguns, apart from the devastation that 20 ounces can unleash, is their indestructibility. Like the legendary rocker Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones, they're timeless and operationally immune to the ravages of aging. In fact, with minimal maintenance and care, a handgun from 1920 will discharge a bullet with similar accuracy as the same gun minted in 2020. Which brings us to the matter at hand. 132 shootings in New York City in the past 10 days, and the bloodiest June in 24 years. Our spineless leaders labored through all the familiar machinations: outrage at the lack of gun control laws, scorn for an ineffective police department, and bizarrely, accorded a measure of the blame to the depressive effects of COVID-19. Titanically unaware, they refused to accept that despite impassioned claims that New York City was still the safest big city in America, the guns and their owners never left. Cold and efficient, these guns had been hidden at the bottom of bureau drawers, behind radiators, and in glove compartments, waiting patiently to be called into service. The first call to service followed bail reform in January. The effect of this sneaky little gem was swift and terrifying. Shootings in New York City jumped 28% in the first 30 days. Empowered criminals learned quickly that carrying an illegal gun in New York City was no longer a big deal. Weapons they had previously hidden in a mailbox or behind a parked car's wheel were now in their waistbands, readily available. In fact, some empowered criminals began to behave as if they actually had a carry permit in their wallet, legally allowing them to possess a handgun. To be sure, not all of New York City's criminals were fully empowered, yet. Many still had the metaphorical scar tissue from an encounter with the plainclothes citywide anti-crime units, so they remained cautious, ever wary of a plainclothes team silently descending on them. The indefensible killing of George Floyd on May 25th set in motion a series of interconnected events that helped to transition the empowered criminals' partial carry to the full carry permit. In New York City, the growing desecration of the NYPD quickly accelerated. In a bloody 48 hours, 478 officers were injured, 198 police vehicles burned, and police precincts attacked and overrun. In the wake of this carnage and the destruction of almost 1,000 New York City businesses, the mayor, dim at best, swiftly instituted two policies. The elimination of the citywide anti-crime program occurred on June 15th. The mayor, frequently wrong but never in doubt, quickly doubled down on July 1st and erased $1 billion from the NYPD's crime-fighting budget overnight. A devastating 1-2 punch to the NYPD and to law-abiding New Yorkers. Two other events simultaneously coalesced: the full evolution of the empowered criminal and the completion of the desecration of New York's finest. Brazen felons could now strut from Staten Island to the Bronx, confident they would not be searched for weapons. How could they be searched? The plainclothes anti-crime officers were molting behind a desk at one police plaza. Many other officers were at the pension section, filing for early retirement. Desecration was not what they had signed up for. July 4th rang in the bloodiest weekend in recent memory, with 60 New Yorkers shot and 12 dead. The following week saw a 600% increase in shootings and a 1-year-old baby shot dead in his stroller in Brooklyn. The mind reels from it all. Inexplicably, New York City's spineless leaders refuse to accept these brutal facts. Mayor de Blasio clings to the notion that New York City is still the safest big city in America, despite the violence that rages outside the windows of his chauffeured vehicles. He's oblivious to the fact that he has single-handedly dismantled Mayor Giuliani and Mayor Bloomberg's extraordinarily successful policing strategies. And he ignores the devastating effects of his poisonous anti-police rhetoric, ill-conceived police reforms, and his tacit acceptance of criminal behavior. De Blasio and the fawning sycophants that encircle him are delusional. They refuse to accept the fact that bad guys did not leave New York City and colonize the moon nor did they shed their weapons, and that the guns, many from the crime-plagued 80s and 90s, still work. They didn't break from diminished use or rust into useless metal. De Blasio tells New Yorkers to wear their masks. He should tell them to wear bulletproof vests.